Good afternoon and welcome. Today we are going to discuss the Department of Labor exchange notice requirement. Before we get started today, let's introduce to you the Beneflex members here today. I'm Judy Coleman, Sales Manager and FCS Certified. This is a certification in flexible compensation by the ECFC. ECFC is the Employers Council on Flexible Compensation, an organization dedicated to the advocacy, education, advancement, and innovation of tax-advantaged benefit programs that facilitate choice for employers and their employees. One of the roles of ECFC is to certify TPAs, so there is an advanced level of knowledge and professionalism in the services we provide. Joining me today is Brenda Cox, our Operations Manager. Brenda is certified in flexible compensation, an additional level of distinction by the ECFC. The CFC certification is sort of a CPA for TPAs, and there just aren't many of these around. It is sort of a CFC on steroids. For today's presentation, you will be in listen-only mode. If you have questions, please type them in and we will answer them at the end of the presentation as time permits. If you registered for the webinar prior to today, you should have received a copy of the PowerPoint presentation in your email. I know in learning about healthcare reform, it seems like we could be here all day, but I promise we will keep it short. The agenda for today is we're going to talk about the status of the state exchanges, the exchange notice requirements, who needs to receive the exchange notice, methods for distribution of the exchange notice, how Beneflex will be able to simplify this process for you, and changes to the COBRA election notice. The status of the exchanges is outlined here. Any U.S. citizens and legal immigrants who are not incarcerated and do not have access to affordable employer coverage may purchase insurance through the exchange. However, only certain individuals may receive a federal subsidy. There are 18 states offering their own state exchange. There are several that are doing a federal-state partnership exchange, and 26 states are using the federal exchange. Open enrollment to begin purchasing insurance through the exchange will begin October 1st, 2013. However, coverage will not begin until January 1st, 2014. Section 18 of the Fair Labor Standards Act, as added by Section 1512 of the Affordable Care Act, provides that an applicable employer must provide all current employees with written notice regarding the exchange by October 1st, 2013. An applicable employer is one that employs one or more employees who are engaged in or produce goods for interstate commerce. It also specifically covers all hospitals or mental health facilities, preschools, elementary or secondary schools, colleges or universities, and federal, state, and local government agencies. The notice must be provided to each employee regardless of their enrollment status or of part or full-time status. Employers who are not required to provide a separate notice to dependents or other individuals who are or may become eligible for coverage under the plan, but who are not employees. After October 1st, 2013, all new hires must receive the exchange notice within 14 calendar days of their start date. There are 3 requirements that must be included in the exchange notice. Later in the presentation, we will talk about how you will provide this information to us if you would like for Beneflex to do the exchange notice administration for you. The exchange notice must inform employees of the existence of the exchange and the manner in which they may contact the exchange to request assistance. It must also inform the employees if their employer's plan does not provide minimum value coverage. The employee may be eligible for the premium tax credit. And finally, it must provide them with the information about the employee, if an the employee purchases coverage through the exchange, the employee may lose their employer contribution under the employer's plan, and all or a portion of such contribution may be excludable from income for federal income tax purposes. When the employee decides they are going to purchase insurance through the exchange, the employee will lose the employer's contribution under the group plan. In addition, the employee will not be allowed to run the premiums for the exchange coverage through the Section 125 plan on a pre-tax basis. How does the employer know if their plan meets the minimum value standard and if the coverage is affordable based on the employee's wages? The employer may use the tools provided by CMS, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, to calculate these values. We have provided the link. So Beneflex has reviewed this website in detail, and now I'm going to use a technical term. This website is ugly. Beneflex is actively reviewing our role in making this calculation happen and will be rolling out program details shortly. Also, your broker may be able to help you with this calculation, and in fact, it may be your broker and Beneflex working hand in hand. There are two model notices that are provided. So the first notice is a 3-page model notice for employers who offer health coverage. Part A of the notice has all the required provisions. Part B has required with optional provisions. Part A of the notice provides employees with the general information about the exchange and how they may obtain additional information. Part B provides the employees with information about the coverage provided under the employer's group health plan and who they may contact regarding additional information about their group health coverage. There is an optional section for the employer to provide additional information about the group plan to ensure employees understand their coverage choices. This notice would be given to all employees who are or may be eligible for the employer's health coverage. The second notice is a 2-page model notice for employers who do not offer health coverage. Parts A and B both have required provisions. Again, Part A of the notice provides employees with the general information about the exchange and how they may obtain additional information. Part B provides the employees with the employer's information and who they may contact. This notice would be given to all employees of employers who do not offer health coverage, and it's also given to all employees that are excluded from the employers who offer health coverage. Who is required to receive the notice? All current employees, part-time or full-time status, regardless of their plan enrollment status. Employers are not required to provide a separate notice to dependents or other individuals who are or may become eligible for coverage under the plan, but who are not employees. Only those COBRA participants who are on COBRA due to a reduction in work hours because they are still active employees and therefore need to receive the exchange notice. Other COBRA participants are not required to receive this notice. All new hires as of October 1st, 2013 must receive the notice within 14 calendar days of their date of hire. What are the methods for distribution of the exchange notice? They may be delivered by first-class mail. They may be hand-delivered. They may be delivered through electronic distribution, but that must meet the Department of Labor standards. And Beneflex HR resources may also help you with this. If Beneflex is providing this service, we are going to use first-class mail with proof of mailing. This service will be available to existing Beneflex clients as well as new clients. Preferential pricing will be available for all Beneflex clients. Services will also be available for non-clients. There are going to be 2 easy steps for the initial mailing if you would like for Beneflex to administer this for you. You will complete and return the application to Beneflex no later than Friday, September 13th, 2013. You will need to let us know if we will be doing the initial exchange notice administration only, or if we will be doing the initial and ongoing exchange notice administration for you. You will provide your census data on an Excel template by no later than Friday, September 13th, 2013. All documentation will be sent to info@beneflexhr.com. For the required information on the employer application, we will need the company name, company address, the federal tax ID number, the company contact, and basic information about your group health coverage. Who is eligible? Does it meet the minimum value standards? And information about employee-only premiums. On the census that we will need, we will have to have the employee's names, their full mailing address, their phone number and email address would both be optional. The coverage eligibility date would be optional, but it would need to be provided if you would like for Beneflex to provide the optional provisions on Notice 1. Also, you would need to provide the probation period for the optional provisions on Notice 1. This service will be available ongoing after the initial mailing. Services will be available to all existing Beneflex clients and non-clients. Preferential pricing will be available for all existing clients. You will continue to send an Excel template provided by Beneflex with your new hires. In order to meet the 14 calendar day requirement, Beneflex will need to receive your new hires within 7 calendar days of their employment. We have structured our fees. Beneflex will not be charging a setup fee to administer this for you. We have pricing for our clients. The initial mailing will be $3.95 for each letter that we send out with a $50 minimum. And for non-clients, it will be $4.50 for each letter with a $70 minimum. If you would like for Beneflex to continue this service ongoing for new hires, again, it will be $3.95 for each letter that we send with a $25 monthly minimum. And it will be $4.50 for each letter with a $35 monthly minimum for non-clients. There will be some changes to the COBRA election notice. COBRA coverage still applies after 2013. As it hasn't been in the past, the initial COBRA notice, which is given to all new participants electing insurance, will still be required, and the qualifying event notification, the COBRA election notice for qualified beneficiaries. This notice is given to any individual who had a qualifying event, such as a termination of employment or reduction of hours, which caused the qualified beneficiary to lose coverage under the group plan. So those requirements will not change, but the Department of Labor is requiring a change to the COBRA election form sent to the qualified beneficiaries. This form, the changes that are going to be required, it's going to notify COBRA eligible individuals that they may want to compare health coverage available through the exchange. The revised notice informs COBRA beneficiaries that other coverage options are available through the exchange and that being eligible for COBRA does not impact an individual's eligibility for a tax credit through the exchange. The revised notice reminds the beneficiary of the potential coverage under a spouse's plan as well. The Department of Labor will be removing the language about preventing a gap in credible coverage, since plans will not be permitted to impose pre-existing condition limitations beginning January 1st, 2014. If Beneflex is currently providing COBRA administration, all of the notices will automatically be updated to contain the new language. Are you administering COBRA in-house? If so, Beneflex can relieve your stress. Contact us for a quote, so you will no longer have to be responsible for making sure your notices are in compliance. At this time, we would ask that you go ahead and start typing in your questions. We are going to get to those in a minute. If you have questions regarding this webinar, if you need a quote for COBRA administration, you may contact Beverly Brenda at bbrenda@beneflexhr.com or myself, Judy Coleman, at jcoleman@beneflexhr.com. Okay, Brenda, do you want to go ahead and read the first question?
Certainly. We have a question here submitted by Janie. She wants to just verify what happens if the employee takes coverage from the exchange instead of electing the coverage offered by the employer. And as Judy had stated, the employee would lose all the employer contributions, and the premiums to pay the coverage through the exchange are not allowed to be deducted on a pre-tax basis.
We have a question. If we decide to do the initial notice mailing, can we run all the ongoing notices for new hires through Beneflex? And yes, this is an option. Beneflex can do the initial mailing only, or we can go ahead and continue to provide that service for you ongoing for new hires.
We also have a question here, Judy. They want to know if we can clarify what COBRA participants must receive the exchange notice. Only participants who had a qualifying event due to reduced hours are required to receive the notice. These COBRA participants are actually active employees, where other COBRA participants were not active employees. Someone has also inquired as to electronic distribution and how that works. Well, if you would like to, please contact Beneflex on an individual basis if you're interested. The qualification for electronic distribution varies depending on company standards and regulations set in place by the DOL.
We have another question about, are the monthly minimum fees only for months where letters are sent out for all months? Yes. The monthly minimum fee is only going to pertain to a month in which we send letters for you. So if there's a month where you don't have any new hires, you would not be charged a monthly minimum fee.
Judy, we also have a question where they want a little bit more clarification as to who this applies to as far as the number of employees. They're a little confused on the minimum value coverage as well as the number of employees that must receive the notification. The notifications themselves apply to all employers, even if you have 1 or 2 employees. But as far as the minimum value coverage, that only applies to employers with 50 or more employees. Someone has also asked about where these notices are. They are available at dol.gov as far as the verbiage. Someone has also inquired about the 2 separate forms. Keep in mind, one form goes to employees who do not have the health insurance, are not qualified to enroll in the insurance, and others that are eligible for the insurance get the other form. There's a question here. It says, if the employee takes insurance through the exchange, does the employer have any obligation to offer COBRA? If the employee had the employer's coverage and terminates, the employer still must send out a COBRA notification, but there again the employee can decide whether they want to go to the exchange or whether they would like to enroll in the COBRA.
Okay, we're going to give it just a few minutes and see if any other questions come in. One of the questions that came in is, can you touch on what the difference is for part-time employees getting Notice 1 or Notice 2? Notice 1 is going to be given if you offer health coverage and the employee is eligible to participate in that coverage. Notice 2 is for employers who do not offer health coverage or for employees who would be excluded from your group health coverage. So if part-time employees are excluded from your group health plan, they would receive Notice 2.
There is a question, Judy, that has come in where someone is asking when to update the template from the DOL, the Department of Labor. The Department of Labor does have current notices out there. Beneflex has no idea whether those will be changed in any manner, but they currently do have an existing updated notice on their website.
There's a question, what if the health insurance renewal is not until January 1st? Is the notice still required to go out October 1st, 2013? And the answer to that question is yes. The notice does need to go out no later than October 1st, 2013 to all active employees. There's another question, does Part B have to accompany Part A when sending out the notice by 10/1/13, or is that optional for now? On the Notice 1 for employers who offer a group health plan, Part A has the required provisions, and Part B has some required provisions, but also has a section that is optional. So the optional section would not have to be sent, but there are Parts A and B on the notice that are required to be sent out. Okay. At this time, we have answered the questions. If for some reason we did not get to one of your questions, we will follow up with you and respond to your questions. We thank you for your time today and look forward to helping you through this process. Thanks.